Welcome back to ciLiving. Before the break, we sat down with Terri Reifsteck of Experience Champaign-Urbana to talk about the 4th of July traditions, and now she is going to share all of the fun things to do around town this summer. All right, Terri, I know we're starting with 4th of July, so what are our options for the 4th?
There are so many options coming up, so I'm going to just jump off with what you can do starting tomorrow. So actually, no, I'm wrong, starting tonight.
Starting tonight?
Yes. So you can head to Rantoul tonight, and they're going to have fireworks at the Rantoul Airport.
All right.
So kick off there, and then tomorrow morning they will have their parade, so you can do that. And then later in the day, it's the Champaign County Freedom Celebration, and they have a new parade route, and it starts at 4:30, and it essentially goes around Memorial Stadium.
Okay.
So you can check that out. Then they'll have some entertainment around the stadium, and then closing with their fireworks. And then on Saturday, you can head to Tuscola for a full day of activities, starting off with the 5K. They're going to have a whole bunch of competitions throughout the day, like pickleball, mud volleyball, if you really want to do that.
Mud volleyball?
Mud volleyball, yep. And then,
do you know anything about mud volleyball?
I don't, but my constant collaborator, Carly, has played mud volleyball in Tuscola before, so I know it's quite entertaining.
Okay.
They're also going to have a car show, live music, and then of course capping it off with fireworks. So all across the county, lots of opportunities. So that kind of wraps up your 4th of July weekend.
And with that, if somebody wants to participate in like a pickleball or the 5K or things like that, do they sign up in advance? Do they just show up on the day?
I think you can go show up on the day, and there's opportunities to sign up when you're there.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, great. And then I know that during the summer, it's already starting to be a little bit of a heat wave.
Yep.
And the heat is intense, and there's humidity here. So what are some ways that we can cool off?
Yeah, so one of the things I think people forget about here is that you can actually get out on some waterways here through kayaking, and so I always like to remind people to check these things out. So one of the great ways to do it is to kayak, and if you're not familiar with kayaking or you want to check it out, you can go out with Kingfisher Kayaking, which does guided tours on the Sangamon River out in Mahomet, and so you can do a short or a longer version with them. So it's a great way to try it for the first time. And then you can head out to Lake of the Woods. They have kayaks and paddle boats that you can rent, which is then a beautiful way to get out on that lake. They also have an accessible kayak launch, so if you have accessibility needs, it's a great way to do that there.
Oh, cool.
So that's really cool. You don't need your own equipment. You can get out there and do it. And then also down in Sullivan, if you are a more experienced kayaker, they have a 7-mile kayaking trail that starts on the Kaskaskia River and ends up in Lake Shelbyville. So you can end up there and go to the marina, and they have a great restaurant there on Lake Shelbyville, so you can do that whole 7 miles, end up with a great meal. So that's a great opportunity for kind of exploring our waterways. We do have water in central Illinois, so maybe take advantage of those opportunities.
I was going to say, that sounds like a lot of fun if you just sort of want to get away a little bit, but sort of get like a staycation, essentially. You can do that and sort of have that, you know, vacation experience, but in a kayak right here in our own backyard.
You sure can. Yep.
That's really cool. And then what about if you're not really into the water sports, the kayaking or things like that, but you do want to stay cool? What about like pool options and splash pads and all those things?
If you have not yet jumped into the pool, now is definitely the time. So of course, in Champaign, we have the amazing Sholem Aquatic Center. One of my favorite things to do is just hop on the lazy river, chill out, go around a couple times. They also have some great water slides over there. Of course, zero depth pool for the young kids, great way to kind of cool off. In Urbana, the Crystal Lake Family Aquatic Center has that really challenging wall to climb up.
Like a water wall?
Like a climbing wall. And I love going there and watching people attempt to do it that think they can do it, and then they fall off like a couple steps in. So that's always fun. A cool vortex. They've got the bucket that, you know, kind of tips over. So multiple ways to cool down out there, more water slides. And of course, in our surrounding communities, lots of different opportunities for pools. So depending on, you know, how packed you want to go to a pool, lots of different ways to do that. And you mentioned splash pads. So Hessel Park, Douglas Park, both in Champaign have splash pads. Or maybe you're out at the Rantoul Sports Complex for or a baseball tournament or a
Okay.
softball tournament, they have splash pad out there. Or you don't have anything out there, but you're out in Rantoul. You don't have to be out there for anything at all, and you can go out there for free. So lots of different opportunities to cool down in the water.
Yeah, I was going to say, so there's full-on pool
Yep.
options, but then there's the sort of, if you have little ones that you don't
Yes.
necessarily want to take to a pool, and you don't want to just do the backyard sprinkler option, you can actually take them to a fun outdoor splash pad.
Yep.
And then what about ice cream? I know that there is a lot of opportunity
Yep.
for sweet, refreshing treats.
My favorite way to cool down is ice cream. And Jarling's is, of course, one of our most popular spots for ice cream in town. Of course, you'll be standing in line for a while, but it is worth it. My favorite is their lemon custard. Nothing screams summer like lemon custard out there, so that's one good spot. The Main Scoop now has 5 locations throughout our area, so they make their own homemade waffle cones and, of course, their gourmet ice cream, fantastic in that. And one of the spots that always joins the debate of best ice cream is Sydney Dairy Barn. They have a flavor of the day, so it gives you a really good excuse to go out there every day if you want to.
I was going to say, and you have to try all of the flavors.
Yes, absolutely you
compare.
do. Yeah.
And then what about theater-wise?
Yes, so this is the season of theater down in Sullivan. Again, their little theater on the square, and they have just a fantastic season. Starting today is their Putnam County Spelling Bee. Great show. This is a professional theater. They bring in big names and acts, and so it's just a fantastic. They do so many shows in just a really tight season. They also have Forever Plaid coming up and Hairspray, plus some kids shows that happen over the season. If you've never been there, please go this season. It's absolutely fantastic and a great way to sit in some air conditioning and enjoy some theater.
Nice. And then the last event is the Champaign County Fair.
Yeah, so big event that happens at the Champaign County Fairgrounds. It's coming up July 18th through 26th. Of course, you can get your elephant ears, something on a stick, of course, demo derbies, live music happening all throughout the week. So check their schedule. There's something happening every single day. Always a great time and, you know, something for everybody.
Wonderful. Well, this has been an extensive list and definitely something for everybody.
Yes.
So thank you so much for sponsoring our segment and sharing all of these awesome opportunities with us.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime.